Stop. Okay. Right. Stop. Sit. Took your time. Wait. Okay. Didn't even have to say a word. Yeah, I'm really having to think about what I'm doing. I was just talking with one of my mates on the phone, just discussing how teaching's changed for me over the last 25 years, and that the way students are treating me and other teachers is absolutely disgusting. There should be a respect for knowledge and wisdom, for your age, a mutual respect as them as learners. But Jesus. Now, I'm not very impressed at the moment, and the rigour, academic rigour, it's just engagement in the material, and even just remembering things. It's like they don't have any memories, they can't remember anything. Some of them don't even copy notes from the board, and then they wonder how they just want to write down an answer without putting any working or showing how they got to the answer. And the answer's usually wrong. And it's like, well, and then you have to give them something that's slightly different than what you've already been doing, but basically the same. Nope. Nope. Dog! She just wants to play, but yeah.
I've got one that's not.
Dog, get here. Roxie, over here. Now. Good girl. Yeah, she's hard to control when she sees other dogs. She just makes a beeline to them. I mean, there was that one time when I took her on the beach and she was horrible. She was absolutely horrible. And she kept on racing and bowling other dogs over. See how she just charges me? She charges at the dogs like that. Knocks them over. And if they're small, she just wants to do judo on them. She wants to use her paws and throw them onto the ground and step on them. And she's trying to play. She thinks it's fun. But they get traumatised. They get scared. I've seen this great big dog just racing at them. They don't know what's going on. And like there's students that are going out of their way. Going out of their way to upset you and wreck your day and wreck the class and just make it so they can have some joy at seeing someone else in some sort of pain or anguish. And I'm thinking, wow, really? Is this why I come to work? I'm here to help, trying to help you work through the school system. I don't lie to you guys. I don't even tell you, oh, you need to know all this stuff. I don't tell you any of that. And it's every day, all the time. Every day. And I'm thinking, is this really how work should be? You know, so that you go there and it's just painful every day. And when I first started teaching, I remember parent interview night. I'd be booked out fully all the time. Alright. And now, the last parent interview night, it's like the parents aren't concerned. I'm like, oh well, I don't know. And now with mobile phones and iPads and all that, and the lack of the use of cash, students don't have the skills now to do stuff in their head. They don't know any times tables. I mean, I'm generalising, some do. Some can. But they don't think you have to remember anything because you can just look up Google. You don't have to remember any phone numbers now. You just got them on your phone. You don't have to know how to do anything to do with money because all you do is tap your bloody card and that's it. I suppose, is this what we want? know. I suppose the question or the argument could be made, well, if you no longer need to do it, why do you need those skills? Like, what's the point? But it's like, well, if you can't remember anything, then you have to always be looking stuff up, always, because you don't know anything. If you don't know anything, you can't make as good of decisions. And I don't know, you still need your number skills, you still need to be able to organise things. And it's like when I talk to them about like there's stacks of maths in most jobs, and it may not be algebra, trigonometry, but it's definitely, unless you just want to be a labourer for your whole entire life, where you just move stuff around or getting told what to do, then I suppose, yeah, you don't need all that, but then you're probably never going to get out of entry-level work. And it's going to have a big physical toll on your body if you can't, as you get older, start to reduce the load on your body. I don't know. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I tend to think the future that they will are sort of setting us up for it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. And I think also just the way, since the lockdown rubbish happened, we've had a lot more issues with students in classrooms. And anyone who knows me, even as a student, knows that I think of school as a system. That 90% of what you learn at school is utterly useless. But it's also almost like a necessary thing. Alan Watts sort of described education or schooling a little bit like salting beef. Like if you want to preserve the beef, in the old days you'd put it in salt, and that would preserve the meat. But then when you needed to use it, you had to wash off the salt, right? And schools are sort of the same way. It sort of tells you how society functions, and basically they're saying, if you jump through these hoops, you're allowed to do this, and if you jump through these hoops, you're allowed to do this. And then when you get out of school, then you need to almost unlearn all that and start learning other things like your financial, how to deal with your financials, how to deal with working relationships and bosses and commuting to work and back, dealing with a vehicle and maintaining it, and maybe potentially moving out on your own. And so many students at school don't really have any idea where they're going. Like, they're just there. They're just there because they have to be there. And it's like, oh, it's just the worst attitude to have. Because now you're not going to use the opportunity that you've got nothing else. You have to be here. But don't look at it that way. Look at it that you're investing in yourself, that you're trying to give yourself as many opportunities so you can get out of this place and start your own life. And it starts by showing a little bit of respect to your teachers. At least those who are really trying to properly prepare you for the real world. The real world. because I'm never going to tell you that you need your algebra for your jobs. But I'm going to tell you that if you don't pass your maths, society looks at that as a negative, and so that will stop you from being able to do certain things. Whether you have to use those maths for your job or not. Same with English. I mean, what do they get you to do in English half the time? It's all rubbish. Who wants to analyse friggin' poems and stuff if you're not into poems? Who wants to look at a romantic novel if you're not into romantic novels? And the amount of propaganda that they push on the students is ridiculous. I've got a feeling there's dog. I'm just thinking, I'm not going to walk all the way down there. I have to get down there through all that sand all down there just for her to go. So I think we'll go back. Come on, dog. Come on. There we go. Yeah, well, I'm 53 this year, and I want to do things I enjoy. You know, I don't want to feel frustrated and upset, and I want to feel like I'm creating a positive change. And I don't feel like that's possible anymore. And I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing. I really need to think about that. Work's never been about money for me, ever. I forego money. I don't have any problems with that. I forego things. I don't need lots. So sometimes you have to question whether it's worth putting yourself through a lot of pressure and emotional strains. Stress. It affects your health. It really does. And I'm starting to ask some really big questions about what I want to start to actually do. So I think the peak of my teaching was where I felt like I made the most difference, when I was enjoying what I was doing and I was working with good colleagues. I mean, I'm working with good colleagues here, but the students were very respectful. I had hardly any issues with behaviour back when I was teaching then. It was mainly like, because we were in a private school at that time. Tuck your shirt in, please. Can you, you need to put on your blazer. Just that sort of rubbish, you know. It was, and they had Friday detentions for not wearing the uniform correct. So there was a lot more. It was a lot better as far as the discipline was concerned. The students. I just think academically students have dropped too. The standard of work has dropped. Like even just the amount of work. I just remember, I can't remember hearing so much whinging about everything all the time as well. And then, you know, they'd come into the classroom and they wouldn't just be walking around and doing whatever they bloody well wanted. They'd go and sit in their chair, get their stuff out, get organised, and you know, I didn't mind if they sat next to their friend and they did their work and there was a little bit of talk. It was fairly quiet. We all got on. It was great. It doesn't happen now. They expect you to do things like, mate, can you believe this? In tests, like a test, they want to ask me questions of whether this is right or not. It's like, well, it's a test. Oh, but other teachers don't. Well, that's wrong. It's a test. You're asking me questions all the way up till the test. I help you all the way up till then. That's when you're learning the stuff. You're not trying to learn it during the test, right? If you're trying to learn during the test, you're not ready for the test. You haven't done the work. You're not prepared. And maybe you need to get a really low mark to show the effort that you're actually putting in and how much you actually know. Like, how much of this do you actually remember? That's the other thing. I mean, when I went to school, you couldn't take pages of notes into tests. You had to just remember stuff. Sometimes you wouldn't even be allowed to have a calculator for a whole test. Now they get to have two double-sided A4 sheets of paper full of notes. They can have a formula book. They've got scientific calculators, and these days, the year 11s and 12s, they've got graphics calculators. Now, some jobs change over time a little bit. Sometimes for the better, you know, like some sort of like labouring type jobs or trades jobs get better because you get new equipment that allows you to do a better quality job a little easier. Or we get a new set of technology that reduces the level of effort you have to put into something or whatever else, or increases the rate of production. And when you're dealing with people and it's changing, that's weird. And it's not changing for the better. And we need to have a really good, long, hard look at ourselves and our society. Are we heading where we want to go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? I can hear her. There she is. Dog, I think we might go back now. So see you later, everyone. Bye.